Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with our first ever updated complete guide for patch 6.2 and we're going to be taking a look at Jinx. Now of course, as usual, before we really jump into it, don't forget to look up in the cards above for Jinx's basic guide for her skills, leveling order tips and tricks, as well as some combos. But with that said, let's get into the video. So this is the build that I showed you guys from the build video a couple of days ago, and my opinion of soul transfer has actually changed quite a bit. I'm going to discuss a little bit more about that one in the gameplay itself. Right, but first let's take a look at the build. Right, so first up we're going to go for the Gluttonous Grease for the AD as well as the Omnivamp. Now, in fact, even with the new Bloodthirster giving you a lot more physical vamp and a lot of AD, there is even an argument to go for attack speed, but I don't really think you need it since you already have 2 attack speed items after that. Bloodthirster next, of course. Yeah, you know, new Bloodthirster is just insane. You get 50 AD, 15% attack speed, crit. You get the Lifeline passive that gives you not only a shield but bonus resistances as well. And then you get the 8% physical vamp, which goes up to 12% when you crit. Then you go for Runans. Runans gives you more attack speed, allows you to attack 3 people at the same time, which is really the most important part. And you get a double auto attack every third auto attack, which is just nuts. Then you go for Soul Transfer. Now honestly, Soul Transfer at this particular juncture of the game, you only have 2 crit items, is not the most insane it could be yet. But after kind of testing it out a little bit more, I think going for Soul Transfer as a last item is not really the best. And just going for it third just makes a little bit more sense. You get attack speed, you get AD, you also get the Shadow Dance passive, which spawns the 2 clones, which will scale off of your crit as well as your AD. Right, and then of course, IE, more reminder, standard stuff, bonus crit damage, as well as, you know, armor pen and grievous wounds. Right, with the runes, nothing too much has changed. Lethal tempo for the attack speed and range, Ruler Cut for the auto attacks, Giant Stare to counter the tanks, Alacrity for more attack speed, as well as Bone Plating for defensive capabilities. And then after that, for the spells, you're gonna go for Flash, and then if you need Cleanse, go for Cleanse. Otherwise, Ghost is gonna be amazing as well. Exhaust and Bear are also options. Right, with all that said, let's talk about the gameplay itself. Alright, so let's take a look at the gameplay itself, but of course, before we really get into it, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Of course, I'll be sure to address them. So this game you're seeing is actually the first game I played of the season, and it's going to be with a solo queue support, Lulu. She does a pretty good job of supporting me. As we know, Jinx Lulu is a really good combo, and of course, one of Jinx's best supports. So I'm going to focus my attention on discussing the build, right? Talking mainly about Soul Transfer. So now, in the video I made a couple of days ago, I said that I think maybe it would be better if we went for the Magnetic Blaster instead of going for Soul Transfer. But since then, I've actually tested out in a couple of games. I've also tested it out in the practice tool. And actually, with the Soul Transfer compared to... Oh, by the way, look at this fight, guys. Vayne flashes under tower to kill me, but tanks 2 tower shots and dies. So a little bit of a digression here, but that was not worth it for her at all because she loses flash and we trade 1 for 1. So in the end, I end up with a summoner spell advantage against her, so that is absolutely fine. Happy with the trade. But and Lulu is also holding the way for me, so I'm actually gonna get all of these minions, or most of the minions. So back to the debate about the items, right? So I've tested it in the practice tool. So I tested Bloodthirster into Runans into Soul Transfer versus Bloodthirster into Runans into Magnetic Blaster. So basically we're comparing Magnetic Blaster and Soul Transfer as a third item here. And basically what I found is that with Blaster, you do more damage to the secondary targets. Meaning that, for example, with Runans you hit 2 other people, with Blaster you hit a couple other people as well. You do more damage to the secondary targets. Right? But with the Soul Transfer, you do more damage to the primary target because your clones are normally focusing the primary target. So this gives you kind of the benefit of being able to get down. Number one, of course, Blaster gives you bonus range, whereas the Soul Transfer doesn't. But Soul Transfer gives you a lot more DPS compared to Blaster, even at 3 items. Right, so with Soul Transfer at 3 items, you are going to deal a lot more damage to the primary target, and that's of course really good for Jinx because she wants to kill the primary target and get a reset. And then, furthermore, this also means that at 4 or 5 items, Soul Transfer is going to scale up, whereas Blaster is not. And then Soul Transfer is going to then outscale Magnetic Blaster. So now, after kind of testing it more and also playing it in the practice tool, testing in the practice tool and playing it more is the better way I should say it. I found that, of course, Soul Transfer is probably better than Magnetic Blaster in most instances, especially if you're going for Runans already. So, for example, champions like Ashe, Twitch, Varus, Jinx, probably all is going to go for the same kind of crit build, which is probably going to be BT into Runans, and then going into Soul Transfer, and then IE and More Reminder. So I think that is actually going to be the way to go, because with Soul Transfer you will DPS the primary target more, and I would imagine on most ADCs, even, I mean, Jinx, you really want to focus down that initial target for a reset, right? But I would think that, for example, on any ADC, you normally want to kill someone first to, number one, get the kill goal, but number two, also remove someone from the equation of the fight. So I would think that just going for Soul Transfer in general in most instances is going to be better. Now, I was actually pretty surprised by this, because I mean, you guys saw my viewpoint in the video I made, like, I think 1 or 2 days ago on the builds. I did actually initially think that Soul Transfer would be a worser item than Blaster. I was actually pushing for Blaster being the better item compared to Soul Transfer. I do think that on some champions this is still going to be the case. Like maybe Xayah or maybe Sivir. But I think on a lot of those hyper carry ADCs, probably Soul Transfer is going to be better. In fact, if even on Sivir, maybe Soul Transfer is even going to be better as compared to the Magnetic Blaster. We'll have to, you know, play test out individual champions and try out. But I do think on certain champions, it could still be Blaster, like Tristana or Xayah. I think the bonus range poke on them is really good. However, maybe Soul Transfer just outclasses Blaster completely. Maybe Blaster is just out of the meta for ADCs, right? That's also another possibility, right? But I'm now going to focus more of my attention on trying out Lucian's builds instead of trying out Soul Transfer versus Blaster. But at the current point where I'm at, I do think Soul Transfer is better than Blaster. I think Soul Transfer is actually going to be really, really good. And you can already see it from this Jinx game, right? So the moment I complete Soul Transfer, I'm going to point it out. I'm going to want you guys to pay attention to the little ghosts from clones, rather, from Soul Transfer that are going to be attacking the enemy. And you guys can sort of see, it's actually in the match itself, I didn't really even notice the clones, right? Because I'm obviously not focused on the clones, I'm focusing on myself, and I'm focused on, you know, getting the kills, getting the resets, and just playing the game in general. You don't really have to pay attention to the clones, right? But in a replay or in the practice too, you can pay attention to the clones, and you can actually kind of notice how much extra damage and how much extra DPS that the clones do. Now, Rat is really funny, right? They say that Soul Transfer is meant to counter tanks, but I don't see how you can't use Soul Transfer against squishies, right? It's just 2 extra clones that are going to deal extra damage. Why is it only against tanks? It's literally against everybody. Now here Karma flashes in. Yeah, Amumu basically flashes in, misses everything. Yeah, nothing too much really ends up happening here. But yeah, so I think Soul Transfer is actually a really, really insane item on any auto attack based ADC. You probably want to find a way to put it in your build. Now the exception is probably the Navori ADCs, like for example Tristana, Xayah, and Sivir all want Navori, so you're gonna definitely go Bloodthirster into Navori. And then the question is, what items do you go for next? Do you go IE Mole Reminder, in which case you have no space for anything else, or do you go Mole Reminder and then like Soul Transfer, or what do you go for? By the way, I hit this cross map snipe, but unfortunately Darius is a little bit too high on health, right? Or what do you go for? Do you go Blaster into More Reminder? Or if you know, if Soul Transfer is already better than Blaster, then why not just go Soul Transfer into More Reminder? Maybe Blaster is just the worser version of Soul Transfer, right? Maybe that's the case. So here I spot Karma alone, I slow her down, I'm trying to basically DPS her or force her flash or get anything, right? I force her ult, I guess, which is better than nothing. Here Vayne is here is just a tragedy, right? So Vayne goes in, I'm just DPSing her with my minigun, her shield bolt procs, I'm just blasting her, she lives on 1 HP. I try to flash forward to get the kill on her, but Karma CCs me. I try to zap her, but I miss. And I cannot believe that Vayne and Karma both survive on 1 HP. This is ridiculous. Like, that's just a little bit unlucky, right? So here I try to get another snipe, but it hits nobody. And the plates falling really early is a really weird thing to experience, because I mean, you're so used to plates falling at like 7:30, and now them falling at 6 kind of feels really weird. Although technically now when you win a fight, you can basically instantly get the tower. The whole map is just accelerated, right? Although Herald and Dragon spawn a minute later, tower plates fall so quickly. Baron spawns earlier. The game pace is just really, really quickly, like really fast now. Like, I don't even get to Elder Dragon most games nowadays. Like, I think all of the games that I've played, I think I think I only hit Elder like once or twice, right? Games are normally done in like 15 minutes, and I see a lot of the community kind of complaining about it. Now, personally, I don't read too much into it just yet. I think you gotta play for at least a couple of weeks before you really can kind of, from a viewpoint. And I say that because a lot of updates, people always complain about it initially, but it's just due to the fact that the game just feels weird because you're not used to it, right? A prime example is, for example, after the durability update, a lot of people were complaining, but after like a couple of weeks, people all kind of got used to the new numbers, and no one was really saying much about it anymore. So I think this is just one of those other instances, right? Whenever a major patch happens, lots of things change. People just, humans in general, they're just not used to change, and they like what they know, and that's why people are just complaining and complaining. But when you actually kind of get used to it, then I think is when you can make a more fair comparison as to whether or not it is better or worse, basically. So we'll have to kind of see about that. Here, looks like everyone's congregating in the mid lane, so we're actually making our way here. We get condemned. Unfortunately, we have no cleanse because we chose to take Ghost this game, and I basically spent all my time just getting DPS, right? So here, unfortunately, I don't actually take that much damage. I'm trying to get the reset on Tryndamere after his ult goes down, and now with the reset, I'm going for Karma. With the reset on Karma, I can try to get more kills. Darius getting chain CC here. I'm going to go for the Vayne, who's squishy. She procs my shield ball. She dies, and I almost get the kill on Darius, but unfortunately we do not get the kill onto Darius. But that shield ball shield from both of us just really coming in handy. Shield ball is such a broken item. I cannot get over how shield ball, not shield ball, Bloodthirster exists in this game. Like, this Bloodthirster is just such an OP item. Like, you get Vamp, you get huge amounts of AD, you get a shield, you get bonus resistances. Like, who thought this was a good idea? Anyways, so now we get the Rune and Hurricane. Of course, second item Spike here. We're pretty ahead of the curve. We actually got the most gold in the game at the moment. Actually, no, we don't, because Galio has more gold than us, but almost the most gold in the game at the moment. Now, the kind of just a little bit sad thing about Soul Transfer is the fact that it doesn't work on minions or monsters, so it doesn't help you with your Rivka, it doesn't help you with your farm. Now here Amumu is getting caught out, but here we are here to back him up, and honestly I thought we would be fine here. Thought it's a simple matter of killing Tryndamere, but Tryndamere's ult lasts for a little bit too long. Darius gets the full stacks onto me, gets the heal. That was very poorly played by me. I could have flashed away and then got the kill on Darius. I thought I could get him without flashing, but it ends up that I should have flashed, and our entire team dies. We get aced, and it's just, yeah, unfortunate situation, right? I should have flashed away from him, or even just walk closer to him so he doesn't hit the healing onto me, and that probably would have been fine, or at least it would have been better at the very minimum. Alright, so yeah, just a tad unfortunate situation here, but it is what it is. So here we're just gonna grab the Hex Gate, go over, because Dragon has spawned, right? But we really want to pick up this wave. This whole wave is gonna die to tower if we don't get it right now. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna quickly just evaporate this wave, with Runan's wave clear. It's super easy. Now we're running to the fight. No one has really died yet. We pop the goals running straight in there. We root the Tryndamere. Our team gets the Dragon. Tryndamere forgets to pop the ult, giving us the resets. And now we're just blasting everybody. Now Vayne, where did she go? There she is. We're just gonna kill her. And we get a bunch of kills here. And there's also a wave in the mid lane just there for us. And just easy, free goal for us. Here Lulu wants to make a play onto the Darius. I'm thinking that's a pretty good idea. He's super overextended, so I'm popping over. I grab the W, slow down the Darius. That actually procs his Sterex. Space him, he gets rooted. Space him even more. Just zap into the bush, making sure I maintain my distance so that he doesn't hook me into the bush and any funky business like that. Farming the wolves, farming the next wave. At this point, we are pretty close to getting Soul Transfer. I'm just trying to get that last little bit of gold that I need to get the Soul Transfer. And actually, here, Baron is up, and Lulu's pinging for Baron. Now, I don't know if this is a very good idea, because enemies are all alive except Darius, where we still have a numbers advantage, but I do think that they would know we're doing this. We're going to do it anyway, and here the entire enemy team is converging. I'm going to reset off the Baron. There we go, we get the reset off the Baron. Now, I'm trying to play super aggressive here. I Gale Force forward, just testing out the new item as well. I thought I just murdered myself by inting, but the shield bow, shield plus Lulu, plus Amumu CC means that I'm actually able to survive, get the kill, And then I'm even going to remain in the fight because obviously I have huge range, right? So I'm just blasting from behind. I get hit by a Vex Q. I see low HP targets. I blast one, I blast two, and I even try to attempt to snipe Karma, but of course it was blind, so I couldn't get her. But yeah, uh, playing on the edge there, you have to make use of Jinx's range. Can't run away when there's like when there's like no cooldowns left on the enemy team, right? So anyways, here we pick up the soul transfer, and now we can kind of see. So it doesn't work on jungle monsters as we know. So nothing is gonna prompt yet. But of course, pay attention when we go to the fights. You can look at the little clones that actually spawn. Now here we are going to clear out the jungle, get that extra gold, and wait for something to happen. Right? No objectives are up right now, and unless my team gets into a fight, there's nothing much for me to do. Just hovering around the two lanes where my Set and my Galio are at. Now they are going to converge onto the mid lane. I'm just gonna follow. Amumu's coming as well. Now with the Baron we can maybe get a push off. We get the tower. Unfortunately I don't reset off the tower. Darius is getting caught. We're just blasting him. Look at the ghosties blasting him. The little clones. We get the kill onto him. And then here we blast again. You can see the clone is actually walking forward to blast them. Which is pretty nice as well. Because obviously the clone doesn't take any damage. It doesn't have a health bar, so it running forward to just DPS for you is just nice. Just a really good thing to have. Here just clearing up the minions, basically forcing them on the tower, pressuring onto two lanes. Baron already runs out though, because obviously the first Baron is now a very short duration, so we actually run out of Baron, which is kind of horrible. But yeah, it is what it is. Karma hits a 3-man ult, doesn't really do very much damage. We get a ward in between the towers. And here I just don't really want to get caught. I get a little bit caught there, but yeah, here Amumu gets the stun on. We have Tryndamere in the ulti. I'm just blasting at max range. I get the reset, and I'm just blasting, and we basically wipe all of them, and that is gonna be the game, I believe. But yeah, in that fight, the soul transfer proc a lot of times as well. So soul transfer is slowly going up in terms of my opinion of it. I used to think it was not that good of an item, but now I actually think it's an insane item, so I'm probably going to be building it a lot more often. But here now we're just going to finish off the game, and there we have it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. We'll leave you guys with the stats as usual, and goodbye.